a story full of twists and tragedy, where societal and familial barriers intertwine in every step of two people in love. A girl forced to hide her feelings finds love in a relationship full of hesitation and heartbreaking decisions. Will she overcome these challenges to live authentically? Join us to explore this emotional journey in the next few minutes. The story begins with Alice, a girl who sells her body to earn money to cover her living expenses, yet she still struggles to pay her bills. One day, Alice returns to her family's neighborhood, but only watches from a distance. As she is soliciting a client, a Christian woman approaches her, inviting her to join her church and urging her to abandon her sinful work. Alice becomes angry and tells the woman not to interfere in her business, but the woman persists, even causing her to lose a potential client. This infuriates Alice, leading her to attack the woman. Returning home, Alice discovers that all her belongings have been placed outside. Faced with this, she decides to spend the night on her parents' porch. The next morning, her mother warmly greets her and asks if she has found a man to marry. Alice replies that she hasn't yet but plans to do so soon. Alice is allowed to stay at home, but her mother's health deteriorates rapidly. She discovers that her parents know she is attracted to women, as they had noticed her relationships with girls in the past. This causes Alice to feel hurt, and she decides to leave again. Before she leaves, her father reassures her that she is not responsible for her mother's health issues, as her mother had already suffered from various illnesses. Alice goes to a place that is hiring a housekeeper, and the homeowner greets her warmly. Upon learning that Alice is not only looking for a job but also a new church, he decides to give her a chance as he manages one himself. Annabelle, his daughter, is also very friendly and helps Alice settle into the work. Annabelle finds Alice very attractive but doesn't express her feelings. The next day, Lillian, Annabelle's sister-in-law, arrives and asks Alice if they've met before, which Alice denies. However, Lillian is the woman who caused Alice to lose a potential client earlier. Later, everyone gathers for dinner, and Alice is the guest of honor. During dinner, they ask Alice several questions to get to know her better, and Lillian's mother tries to convince Alice to join her daughter's church. Alice gently declines. In the following days, Alice works hard to prove her skills in the household duties. One day, Annabelle mentions encountering a woman recently who asked men for money and was wearing the same perfume as Alice. At that point, Alice admits that she used to get involved with men for money but says it's in the past. She then asks the homeowner for room and board, but Lillian firmly refuses. Alice insists, claiming they won't find anyone who will do the work she does for less money. The homeowner decides to give Alice a chance despite Lillian's objections. In the following days, Alice continues to help the family with household chores and at the doctor's office.
Again, he said unto me prophecies about...
She also begins attending church, where she struggles with inappropriate thoughts about Annabelle, with whom she has begun to develop a close relationship. One day, Alice has an unpleasant encounter with Annabelle's brother, Joseph, but she quickly confronts him and makes him regret his actions. Later, Alice finds out through Annabelle that Joseph and Lillian do not sleep together as requested by Lillian. She also discovers that Lillian occasionally invites Annabelle to her home when her mother is away, which raises suspicions in Alice. So she decides to learn more about Lillian and visits her home. There, she witnesses Lillian forcing people to confess their sins publicly and then absolving them. All of this makes Alice find it ridiculous. Lillian then confronts Alice and mentions her growing closeness to Annabelle and her knowledge of her mother's illness. Alice refuses to talk about it and walks away. Later, Alice meets her parents, who are warmly welcomed by the homeowner's family. During the conversation, Alice's parents ask if her new church has helped with her condition, implying her homosexuality. Alice explains that she hasn't had to reveal anything and that they've been very kind to her. Later, Alice drinks excessively and ends up very drunk, lying in bed. Annabelle comes to find her but sees that she's exhausted and decides to leave. At this point, Lillian realizes the truth in Alice's life, that her lack of a husband is due to her homosexuality, and that has caused her to be estranged from her family. Lillian, who has always looked down on Alice, openly criticizes her homosexuality in front of everyone. This causes Alice's mother to become seriously ill, and they have to sedate her. Alice is examined by doctors in an attempt to cure her condition. Alice agrees to this because the doctors assure her that if she is cured of her deviation, her mother will recover. Alice apologizes to Annabelle's father and asks for another chance. He forgives her, and they promise to help Alice and her mother. At the church, Alice overhears murmurs from women questioning whether her condition is contagious. Joseph suggests that Alice seek advice from a woman who has already been cured, so Alice visits Myra, a girl with whom she had a past relationship. At first, Myra's family refuses to tell Alice where she is, but eventually, they allow her to leave her phone number.
I'm having his father and Dr. Henry.
One day, Annabelle brings medical books to Alice at her isolated home, and despite making food for Alice, Annabelle seems uneasy. Annabelle asks Alice if she wants to meet her, and eventually, Alice agrees to let her stay. They begin talking about the first time Alice was with a girl she never heard from again. Annabelle asks if Alice would leave her family to be with a girl, and Alice answers no, because what makes her happiest is her family. They continue drinking and eventually lie down on the carpet. At some point, Annabelle kisses Alice, and Alice does not reject the gesture, but afterward, Annabelle seems distressed. Despite everything, Annabelle decides to take things further with Alice while Alice is still undergoing treatment. During a meeting, Alice proposes running away and starting fresh somewhere far from everything. However, this suggestion causes Annabelle to panic, and Lillian realizes what the two of them have been doing. Lillian demands that Annabelle confess her sins, saying that she can still be saved. With tears in her eyes, Annabelle gives all her savings to Alice, making Alice realize that Annabelle will not go with her. Alice is expelled from the house, and her mother's treatment is halted. Meanwhile, Lillian blames her husband for the situation with Alice and Annabelle, attacking him for letting Alice influence her sister.
Was she able to get to Annabelle, huh? Why? Yes, you did, Joseph!
Alice, realizing she cannot return home due to her mother's health, goes to Myra's house. Seeing her, Myra says she seeks healing just like she did. Myra advises Alice to find a solution in God, but Alice insists on seeking answers through science. With few options left, she agrees to Myra's idea of joining her church and getting baptized on the condition of confessing her sins, with Lillian being the one to help her with the confession. During the confession, Lillian confronts Alice about her actions, making the situation tense, but Alice ultimately gives in and confesses her sins. Lillian performs a ritual to eliminate Alice's illness, placing it in the hands of God. Afterwards, Alice is accepted by all the church members. Later, Alice invites Jacob, a man who has been helping at her parents' house, to dinner, thanking him for his support. It seems that Myra is pleased to see Alice flirting with him. After a few weeks, Alice shares with her mother that she has made significant progress thanks to the church and the man she is dating, which makes everyone happy. She continues participating in church activities, enjoying good times with her mother, and her health improves as well. However, Annabelle's unexpected visit changes everything. Annabelle thanks Alice for helping her discover more about herself, but confesses to Alice that she would rather marry her than the man she is dating. Despite Alice's attempts to persuade her to reconsider, Annabelle leaves her address, believing that Alice will be her love again. Worried, Alice asks Myra if marrying Jacob would make her stop feeling attracted to older women. Myra reveals that it's not the case, as she is still the same and is just pretending to love her husband. However, the stability she has with him makes her happy. Alice looks for Annabelle and after sharing an intimate moment with her. At that moment, Annabelle suggests that Alice run away together to seek a new beginning.
I know things will be better than they are for us.
As Annabelle packs, Alice reflects on her relationship with her family, especially her mother. The next day, Lillian goes to Alice to ask about Annabelle, who has supposedly run away with a man. Alice decides not to reveal her whereabouts. Lillian begs for help to convince Annabelle to return, and Alice agrees on the condition that Lillian confesses her own sins. In an emotionally charged confrontation, Lillian admits that she has lusted after Annabelle. Alice confronts Lillian about her intentions with Annabelle and her falsehoods as a wife. The argument escalates, and Alice finally decides not to run away with Annabelle, but to stay with her family. Even though she gives up being with someone who truly makes her happy, she chooses to live with the facade of someone she is not. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to the channel to receive notifications for the next video. Goodbye and see you again.